Today's topic is aviation logistics in Korea and Laos. So we'll talk about the first thing with me, like this Korea's case. This presentation is two parts. Usually I prepare the basic thing of the aviation thing. Aviation has airplane and airports, right? So I will talk about the current state of international thing and domestic in Korea and something else. I'm definitely sure Professor Anui will explain about your country's domestic things in Lao airline or airport, something else, I'm sure. And second part is the aviation or airline, including airline, airports, policy direction in Korea. So I will talk about this. So the audience participating in this seminar is like coming from different fields. Of course, some professionals knows very well in aviation or airport, like a basic concept of something else. But I think that most of them is not familiar. That's my target audience is the basic things. So please understand. I want to explain about why we aviation industry in the nation. Do you know why aviation industry, like in Laos, for example, is in need? Your country, in geographically, is a landlocked country. Of course, you guys have GMS, a Great Mekong River. But if you want to travel for business purpose or private purpose, like for me, like traveling to the other countries around, like of course not southern area like United States or European country, you should take the airplane. Of course, you can go to the train. I mean, high-speed rail or whatever things, but it takes time a lot and you need to spend a lot of money. So that's why we need two perspectives for airline industry in Laos, like for personal purpose, like for me, a private purpose, but second one is business purpose. So for this topic, I will talk about is aviation logistics thing. So in terms of that aviation sector, can carry on the air freight by freight aircraft. But I don't, what I know is that Lao airline doesn't have a freight aircraft yet. So that is the one point you guys will remember. In Korea, some airlines, some major full service carrier, Korean airline or Asiana airline, they have like freight carrier only, not like sometimes passenger craft, including some spaces like holding some baggage or even like some freight. But I'm talking to a freight carrier, a freight aircraft. So we will talk about these things later more. So this slide is for the speed of the freight aircraft. Normally, freight airport like carry on the freight like a standard way, standard speed. Like aircraft, if they load some freight in the Wati airport, they might be stopped one airport or two airport to the final destination. That is the like a standard speeding process. But for in case like express standard. Of course, it costs more than the standard process, but it directly from the origin to destination can be loaded. But the last one is a default standard. That is the quite like cheapest one, rather than first two things. But of course, it's still like more expensive than the marine transportation. Of course, it stops 3 or 4 times more like something else. Okay? So I put the two associations of aviation in the world, two major associations famous in the world, ICAO and IATA. So IATA means International Aviation Transportation Association, ICAO, International Civil Transportation Organization, something else. But ICAO, like I will introduce ICAO first. ICAO is the United Nations agency. It's like, United Nations like a non-government organization, right? So I think the member countries, all of them like joined ICAO. But What I know is that Lao Airline recently in 2016, the airline joined the IATA. IATA is like, of course, non-profit organization, but this organization is mainly participating in the private sector or even sometimes countries. But I think the IATA and ICA also, all of them are important to participate in the aviation industry, since those two associations to try to improve the wages of the air industry's worker and the profit or the sustainability of aviation sector, something like they try to make regulations or make some optimize route in from a route to another route, something else. It's like a cooperation to coexist. It's something else. I need to talk about the forwarding freight. It's commonly these days called logistic company or freight company, something else. Those are a very similar concept. So I would like to make an example in Bangtao dry port cases in CPS, like what the freight forward doing in, like for example in CPS. If some freight from the Thailand to the I think the Vietnam final destination, for example, they should go through Bangtao dry port, right? But in case of Bangtao dry port, when the big trailer or going through the Bangtao dry port, they should change the truck, right? Like more smaller one, something else. But in case of the truckload, it should be fully loaded. It is efficient. So sometimes the forwarding company or a forwarder, and they are doing the optimizing these kind of things. But this is like a ideal thing to in logistics sector. But in reality, usually then less than truckload is happens in the nation, around the country. So, but and then the one thing I want to share the concept of that picture. So, for example, in the warehouse, like a forwarder, sometimes carrying or owning, they are on a warehouse or transportation mode, like a truck or some vehicles or something else. But in case of that, they can merge freight from the one warehouse. Like if they have another order from the shippers, something else. It's like they want to consolidate every freight as possible as they can load in the truck, which will be make efficient and which will be make sustainability in the trucking load sector freight industry. Something else should be happen, but it's not going to happen in reality. Yeah. In this slide, I would like to talk about what type of the cargo in aircraft. Do you know? Do you think the type of cargo in aircraft is not expensive? Of course, we cannot imagine, since aircraft, transportation cost of aircraft is higher than other transportation, railway or of course the trucking industry also. So, for in case of USA case, they define what is the high value cargo. So in the between the North America, they say $10,000, some according to the item. But if cargo moving from the U.S. to another country, like a European country or Asia country, whatever else, they say if the high value cargo means $10,000 per 1 kilogram. So it's very high value cargo. But sometimes the weight is not important. For example, you can imagine the art piece, like art piece by artist. It cannot priceless. So this is like for example. And then sometimes freight carrier try to move different phrase, like a living thing, like a whale, shark, or some panda to China. Do you remember? So this is the something happened. So, but I would like to say one thing more. The middle one, e-commerce logistics. I think these days, including Southern Asia's e-commerce, like what e-commerce means, like using app in your smartphone or your laptop or your computer, desktop computer, like ordering some food or some items, and then you get that item from your parcel delivery companies. That's right. You don't need to go to supermarket or a friendship in CPS, something else. But what I am talking to e-commerce in here, like high value cargo, fresh food is perishable things. It should be carried as fast as they can, right? So sometimes the fruits or some valuable agricultural things will be carried by the aircraft, a freight aircraft, or sometimes passenger aircraft with some spaces. In this slide, I would like to talk about some advantages or some pros in air freight transportation mode. I talked earlier, speed and reliability is the quite most important factor in aviation transportation mode. Since, like I talked to you, there is no infrastructure like a land infrastructure, lay load or load infrastructure. It takes a lot of time to construct, right? But the airport, it's like easier than constructing. Constructing of the airport easier than other transportation infrastructure like road or railway infrastructure. So, and then the other thing is, I think the airport should be screened strictly. Anybody cannot enter and freely, or if I want to take a toilet in the airport, of course, in the outside or just before the entering the immigration process, I can. But in the after immigration process, no. Just if you holding the ticket or something like ID card, only can access. That means security is in the highest one rather than other transportation mode. That means what it is important, like shipper holding freight, they might be afraid of damage or loss or some accident in transporting their freight. But airport is a secure place. And third one is locations advantage. I talked to you airport, just only need airport. So but sometimes it's okay run away. Like airport, it's like don't you need any fancy run away? If you landing and take off the small freight carrier, it just need a small size of the runaway. So that means in Laos, there might be a chance to use this concept, like locations of advantage. And fourth, these days, airline, freight carrier, of course, not normally using GPS-based tracking system. They might be the customer, like a shipper, can track their product or like a freight in the real time. Then fifth one is cost of package. Like I think you guys might be see the little bit sometimes the freight loading to the passenger aircraft. don't you see any like heavy packaging or something else in the freight in air freight? No, they just only like using a pallet or sometimes use some thin container for special transporting. I talked to you a whale or shark or something else, panda or whatever things. But usually they use light packaging. That means less cost to other transportation package. This slide of the type of logistics. Generally for logistics of the freight, it needs three process: inbound logistics and outbound logistics. Sometimes customer want to return their product to the company of the final product. So a little bit detailed things. Inbound means the inside, right? Inbound means inside. That means like a manufacturing company or the some companies needs to be like have the raw material or the crude things to make final product, right? Like we say procurement logistics sometimes. So sometimes inbound logistics is like going through like in the picture that way. For outbound logistics, if customer order, for example, water in there, should a logistic company transport this water to the customer's door, right? We say the conceptually outbound logistics, but these days, I talked to the previous slide, e-commerce is activating. Like you guys have all like a smartphone, right? So just order in the smartphone and get their delivery package from delivery logistic company, right? But it happens like making is, ordering is. That means what happened? Easy to return. So if they don't want, they can return it to the company, logistic company, or like manufacturing companies. So this process is quite is a general concept of the logistic flow. And then I want to add some two concepts of third-party logistics and fourth-party logistics. So if I talked to this concept as, in other lectures, I think second one or first one, but I want to emphasize on these two concepts again. So third party is for like a small or like a medium-sized enterprise. If they like, they might want to focus on making or selling their products, right? They might not have special professionals specializing in logistics. Of course, why? It might be more cost than outsourcing the logistic things to the company. It quite happens. So that size of company sometimes, many times, you use a third-party logistics. They just want to let them, transporting or managing inventory or item, something else. But it happened. But it's like a big company, like in Laos, like Aden, like in CPS Aden company. I'm definitely sure they should have their own logistic company, or sometimes like that big company, they might hire force logistic party, like this force PL, force logistic provider provides everything in detail logistic things. Like if I give this job to the force logistic party, they do everything like consulting, strategic thinking, and inventory management and transporting inventory, whatever things the company needs. It's like a step or family. But third-party logistics, it's like outsourcing to the function of the logistics to the company. It's a big difference. I would like to why we logistic thing really in need in the company. So if you have some product like anything is okay, fruit or like agricultural products or other a product is fine. But if you have right function of logistics, your product can be more profited, or your product can be more attractive to the selling the customer. Sometimes if customer like order some freight from the company, if the customer get the product lately or like so many times to get the product, they might refuse your product. So that is the one example, like speed. And then if right logistics companies can be activated in your company, you can decrease the transportation cost of the transporting your freight. That's why those two things are major function of logistics. Freight volume of the world, including other countries, but those number is total. Can you please look at this figure? This is for like a period of 5 years almost. The overall world, in the world, like cargo ton kilometer. I would like to say two concepts first to explain this figure. We have two concepts of CTK, cargo ton kilometers, and this concept, available cargo ton kilometer. What those two concepts is? First, the CTK means cargo ton kilometer. Why we use this concept? If like me or your policymaker or other professional wants to find how much cargo transported from some point to another point, we can use cargo traveled by kilometer or mile. That's fine. But sometimes we might want the weight, right? Cargo is important weight. So it's like convergence of the cargo ton travel by travel. Okay, so that means we can know the length and then weight together. So this concept is the normal thing in the freight transportation, cargo ton kilometer. And another thing is in aviation freight industry, ACTK, just only added available. So this concept is like passenger aircraft. This passenger, in case of passenger aircraft, you guys should, including me, I bring my luggage, sometimes some heavy things, right? Aircraft, if the passenger travel a lot, like from a point to another destination in the world, like this freight volume will increase, right? So ACTK, like available cargo ton kilometers, means CTK plus that, belly, we say belly freight, including belly freight, something else. So if you look at this figure again, I talked to you, do you remember pandemic period, 2000 January, like now you see, just go down. Like this is the billion, so that means 16 billion per month in the world. But do you remember these days, like going up and then now these days, this amount? But at that time, the shutdown from the airport to another airport happened. So it's like up and down. But when demand of the airport, freight airport going up, that means other transportation mode, like marine transportation mode, can be attractive since they can move. But in speed of the marine transportation, of course, slowly rather than air mode, but it can be happen. So and then the volume of the decreasing more and more, since there is other transportation mode. I talked to you, marine transport, something else. But these days, do you remember other outsource effects, like some war, Ukraine and some Russia, and also Mid East and some war, something else? They might be negatively affect use marine transportation from the Asia to Europe countries, something else. So that's why these days the transportation, logistic transportation of aircraft, demanding is increasing. So one thing I explained, and then the other one is also important. So if you look at the below chart, this is the amount of 100% of the air cargo market share in the world. But I rectangled Asia Pacific. Asia is the surprisingly accounted for the highest one, 32%, of course, including Southern Asia and Korea, China as well. But it's bigger than Europe and North America, I mean the USA, Canada. We have big potential to our market in Asia. I mean, starting from the Asia to another continent. So I would like to emphasize since and then, and compared to the comparison of previous year, 2003 compared to 2002, a growth rate is the highest one, rather than other continents. So it's quite important. This slide is about the contents of the flow or current states of the before-after pandemic, coronavirus. So the figure is not important, but in fact, actually, the passenger volume or freight volume are decreased sharply, 60 or even 70% of the compared to 2020 to 2000, just for 1 year, because of the shutdown happens between the countries. But these days, in activation of aviation sector, including passenger and freight, what happens in Korea? We have several low cost carrier. So we say LCC, low cost carrier. But Korean airline and Asian airline, we say full service carrier, FSC. So it's a big company or a small company. We introduced low cost carriers before the pandemic. Of course, they operated well before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, we didn't expect this outer effect, right? So what happened? They just shut down their airline or something else. So that means just gone. So, but these days, it's like a consolidation of the other LCC companies, LCC airlines, I try to happen, since if they consolidate together, they can be more powerful, or they can be cost saving to transport passenger or freight. So it's they are trying, but it takes some central government's approval, or they should follow the regulation or something else. It's happened. And I just forgot to inform you in the first time. We prepared the delicious beverages and some snacks over there. Please feel free to go there to grab some things if you want during the presentation. That's totally fine, okay? And so this slide is the price of the a freighton during 3 years. I'm sorry for listen one, but definitely sure is similar to all the more decreasing. Since I talked to you, other transportation mode, marine transportation mode is activated. So if we look at this figure, it's I explained. Blue line means blue or pink line. It's starting from the China, Hong Kong or Shanghai to where? North America. like USA or Canada. But if you look at the fare of the freight, in 2018, it's quite low. It's like, I'm sorry, not ton, $4 or $4 around one kilo per, $4 per 1 kilometer. It's quite cheap, but like during the pandemic and or the after pandemic, it looks like even highest one is $14 per kilogram. What is happened? The demanding of the air freight is incredibly increasing during the pandemic period. So like during the pandemic period, airline companies like is in deficit in terms of passenger at that time, but freight, no, they like increasing more and more profit. So what I know from some professionals in airline sector, like a freight aircraft, if they set up well, it's like making profit like on averagely. It's okay, but not too much in revenue or something else. But freight is like I think the freight is some countries freight is red market, but as Asia countries it can be a blue market, I think, including Korea. This slide is freight carrier or companies in the world. If you look at the left side, in Asia is over there. So top 50 air freight carriers, freight carriers in here. So I think number one is United States. United States has lots of within top 50 company, air freight companies, like 10 or I think around 10 companies. But in Korea, we have two companies, H&M. It's like H&M company. It's majorly like operated by marine transportation. And the other one is a Korean airline. So my airline. Anyway, so I will explain the good case or some incredible case of the air freight carrier in next slides. But I selected the second one, UPS cases, since UPS set up a very long time, like 1920s, very long time, and then it survived, and now that company is number one company. Excluding Amazon and incorporation. Since Amazon, like they have lots of function, including air freight carrier. So that's why I chosen the only air freight carriers company, UPS, since 100% freight revenue share. So that's why. So I talked to previously, but UPS has like they can not only transport the normal freighting like I can say water or I'm sorry some fragile things, but also they transport like a living thing like a shark or bear or sometimes flowers with cold chain system, something else. So this is the not only the normal thing, but also the living thing or cold chain. I will explain more things of the couple of slides about UPS history and some cases. We have several slides for UPS history and some implementation. Please don't look at this slide. Please look at me. So I'll tell you briefly some insights to you. So UPS is the now number one air freight company in the world as well as in the USA. How they can do? So in the first time, they are not a big company. Like they only started 1920s in the USA. Like I think the 29 or something else. But in the USA, 1920s, they experienced economic depression. Like their unemployment rate is very high and their economy is very down. So what happened? The air freight service by UPS shut down since they want to make this kind of air freight service from west to east coast, like for 2 days, something else. At that time, 1920s, they invented, but Great Depression and some bad economy is shut down. Since people cannot eat the bread even, how can they use freight transport? Sometimes, but anyway, they did. They anyway survived some periods after. So what they are doing, they in the first time they started using not their own freight carrier or other passengers aircraft using some spaces for transporting the freight, right? So of course, in the first time, they don't have any their own freight aircraft, but they started this freight transporting by other airlines company. So like a leasing or something else, like a contract. So how, like some companies, we ask like, can you transport my freight from some like Florida to or Chicago or something else, like during some period, something else. But what happened? There is one competitor in FedEx in the U.S. I'm sure you guys know FedEx. FedEx is the freight carrier also, but nowadays number one is the UPS. But at that time, FedEx also tried to have their own freight carrier in the first time, but they made a profit activating this system. So what the UPS got an idea about some other cases, like they can do that, the same thing, like using their own freight carrier. So they try to buy now, like a freight carrier from where? Boeing or Airbus, something else, big, aircraft manufacturing company, right? So, like they are trying to make their body sizes bigger and bigger. If the many aircrafts and many employees, we can decrease the cost of the transportation for freight. It's okay, freight or something else, and they can provide many different services, like customized services, like for general freight or e-commerce or something else. It's happened, but luckily in 1970 to 80s, U.S. government acted Airline Deregulation Act. What happened? Like a UPS, they now operate their own aircraft, their own freight carrier to transport freight from across the U.S. nation. So that's happened. But to make a growth in the aviation sector, of course, USA is a very big land, right? Rather than in Korea or other countries. Of course, China should be equal to the size of the USA. But domestic is the limitation to operate the freight transportation, right? Even by air carrier. What happened? They enlarged their network to the another countries. So what their strategy is, geographic strategy is the first. For example, they have now their UPS's headquarters is I'm sorry, I just forgot. Sorry, UPS's headquarters now Louisville. Why they selected Louisville? Louisville can be 3 hours flying distance across the nation. They only need 3 hours flying to any places in the USA. So what they are choosing in strategically, expanding their network in the world is that they put another hub airport where, like Anchorage in Alaska. Why? If setting up the hub airport in Anchorage in Alaska, this facility can provide 9.5 hours flying distance in industrialized countries in the world, 90%. So they selected this geographical geographical advantage to operate their airline network system. This happened, but these days what they are trying to do, they are getting more and more modernized freight aircraft. So these days, I think the one aircraft, I think the Boeing, I forgot the number, but one aircraft can fly to 6,700 miles per one trip. Like, for example, Hong Kong to how much, like so big area, I think. So it's like advancement of the aircraft lanes. It could be possible more efficiently transporting the freight. So that's why the UPS airline, like nowadays, surviving even successful case. So what we can have an insight of this case is that you don't need to, you cannot set up everything at once in time in Laos, right? Sometimes like we need to do, if we want to grow our aviation industry more and more, we can have an alternate way like leasing or some other professional way from these cases, something else. So please, after presentation, or we can talk about more this idea. The second chapter is aviation policy direction in South Korea. Before talking to that, I talk about more current status of aviation sector in Korea. Of course, during pandemic period, our passenger volume and freight volume also sharply decreased. So, but I want to talk about our passenger volume is almost 100 million passengers per year, like for international passenger I'm talking to. Domestic is like 60 to 70 million passengers. I'm talking to those two numbers is that our facility in Incheon International Airport, I think including DDG and some of Mr. Sonafet and some professional or officers came to the Incheon International Airport. We have a good airport facility, but demand like more and more increasing. That means we need to enlarge on our airport facility, including runway and passenger terminal or freight terminal, something else. So nowadays we are enlarging on those facilities. And I want to talk about some concept of aviation industry ecosystem of South Korea, like based on the airport. What we are thinking is that, do you even think the airport is a good place to have a, how can I say, social or some meeting or like having fun? Don't you think, right? Do you? Since airport, like I talked to you, restricted area, and it's like a more hard and not. Of course, some funny place to go abroad to having some fun. But what I am trying to in our government is that we want to make airport, of course, but around the airport, we want to make like a living complex places like residence facility and commercial and some convention place or some museum or some art thing, whatever things. Since we can together with aircraft, but one major problem is aircraft makes a lot of noise. When they landing and taking off, that was one problem. But anyway, the concept of the making towards the future is that like living together with aircrafts, with people is something else. So we're trying, yeah. And one more thing, air industry sector is makes good ripple effects like front and rear, front and back side. For example, if the company or government makes the airports at some place, they can make a production-induced effect, but this quite bigger than other sectors, like a construction sector. And then after constructing, we can get effect of operation effect, including job creation, something else. So I'm not talking to specific number or something else. Please refer to your paper, okay? This chart is saying that how many airports in Korea. So we have 8 international airports and 7 domestic airports. But major thing is I talked to you international airport, and then beside the international airport there is Gimpo International Airport, and one of the another major airport is Jeju. It's a Jeju Island. We should has Jeju International Airport, but those 3 airports are profitable. So okay, international airport very profitable rather than those 2 things. But less of the 5 international airports, it's not quite the good function of the international airports. Why I am talking to this fact is I think the similar status in Laos, I'm sure, since you guys have 3 international airports, Wati, Pakse, and Rang Prabang, and Mr. Shambipan told me another thing, but forgot the name. Anyway, but I think the Wati airport is the busiest one, but Pakse, but I know several reasons, like length of the runway limitation or like something else. So it's limited to taking off and landing by the big aircraft from other countries. That's I'm understanding. But airports, of course, it can make a connection to anywhere places. Like I talked to you, airplanes are good advantage, right? But if this is not in activation, it might be make lots of loss in operation of the airports. That means somebody should be responsible for that, like a government or local government or operation company, something else. But it happens in Korea. So like we have 3 major international airports, right? Excluding Incheon, 2 Jeju and Gimpo international airport. They makes profit, but less of them not profit, or sometimes loss. We balance it. Those 2 or 3 airports and the less of them. So it's quite a problem, but we try to make a new concept of freight service thing by air carrier or something else, but it's now in progress. I prepared airline and airport related laws in Korea. Why do I have to put those two slides in here? If I want to tell or explain about the policy things, I should talk about law first, since every basic or master or comprehensive plans based on the laws in Korea. If the law says that it should be established at some period, 5 years or 10 years, something else. That's why I explained the laws first. We have 10 or more than 10 airline related laws in Korea. But I think the most important airline act is the Green Line, Aviation Business Act. Aviation Business Act requires the government to make aviation aviation policy plan, like a master plan, something else. So, but the other thing is the aviation security and safety. What the difference of the security and safety is? Safety is something else like accident or like a damage from you. From person or the like car or some aviation or something else. But security means like a theft or murder or some like cyber terror or something else like that two concepts are different concepts. But in aviation sector, it's security and safety is important elements to operate airport and airline. So those two separate acts there are. And then if I'm sure I don't want to have this case, but if there is accident like in aviation or railway, it could be a big accident, right? Aviation, so for example, it's like big, like yes, we cannot imagine, but because of that we have a separate act of some investigation process or something else for aviation and railway section. So and then this is airline. I talked to airport together. It's shortly, yes. Airport is like something else more than 10 airport related acts, but these days, in Korea's trend is make a new airport in local area. Like since our nations like try to balance the regional development. What does mean? You guys have a big city, Vientiane, right? Government want to make a Vientiane city like in other states, like in CPS or something else. How can do that? They can let the company, a public company, to move to the CPS or some other incentive or policy, something else. It's like a regional development for something else. So to implement a regional development actively, one of the way we can do is construction airport. If construction airport like constructed in some rural area, what happened? We have access to the rural area as fast as we can, right? So this is the one way to transport for freight and passenger. So I'm not talking to the specific, act or law in airport related airport to act. But if you have any question, please after the presentation ask me. I will talk to you. Okay. Those two slides is real example of Aviation Business Act and Aviation Facility Act in Korea, written by in English. The reason I put those two slides, I want to tell why or which contents we should deal with for master plan of aviation policy or comprehensive plan of airport development. So first one is Aviation Business Act. This act is explain everything about aviation business, including aviation policy. Aviation policy master plan should be based on a legal base. This act requires government to set up master plan of aviation policy every 5 years. That's why we try and set up the aviation master plan, aviation policy master plan, something else. And then, but in the aviation master plan, we should include the current status of the aviation industry in domestic in Korea and as well as in the world. And then, we need to do demand forecast or demand analysis of passenger or freight or some in aviation sector, and then find and then strategic vision, strategy or subtask for implementing next 5 years, financial plan or investment plan, something else. Those things should be in the master plan. So this one thing, I will shortly, next one. So for Airport Facility Act, this is only for airport facility. So, but I talked to you comprehensive plan of airport facility, right? Why comprehensive? This plan, comprehensive plan, includes 15 airports together, like common things, like status of the airports, something else in the nation, as well as in the world, and vision, strategy, subtask, towards 15 airports in Korea. But I'm definitely sure each airport need to have its own basic plan of airport facility every 5 years. That's why I have different things in here. Comprehensive plan for whole airports in the nation, and basic plan for each airport. Those next two slides is overview of the aviation policy and airport in Korea's master plan and comprehensive plan. I wanted the status of the aviation policy master plan. Aviation policy master plan is the highest one, include like not include like above the list of the each basic plan of, for example, aviation safety, aviation security, or basic plan of development of drone industry, something else. So this is the highest one for aviation sector. But aviation policy includes everything of themes, like I talked to you, safety, facility, or something else. Everything is here. Comprehensive plan of airport policy is looks like here. I want to introduce the system of our some other fields of master plan. So we have the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transportation. We say MOLI. MOLI has some fields are responsible. The land and transportation, major thing, of course, including housing. So MOLI has the highest plan of the National Land Master Plan. It's based on the National Land Act. For how much period? 20 years. Every 20 years. Every 20 years. But below that master plan, we have separate transportation master plan, National Transportation Master Plan, every 20 years. So I'm going down. So after aviation or road or railway, each one master plan. But in terms of aviation, I talked to before first slide, like aviation policy master plan is the highest one. Okay, highest one. It's like and then below the aviation policy master plan, there is a comprehensive plan for airport development. Okay, so it looks like you should understand the process, since every plan, like a basic or master or comprehensive plan, is based on the legal acts. Like so government should follow the acts to make some plans. Firstly, I will introduce the chart of the strategy chart of the master plan of the aviation policy for third one. So this master plan was set up recently, and all the master plan, including comprehensive plan, in commonly include like some software thing and hardware thing and human training and some other overseas things like for making strategy and vision and subtask. I'm not going to explain every detailed things subtask in master plan of aviation policy since we are talking to freight air carrier, right, in this time. I mean logistics. So I will bring or tell you those something related in that sector. So I brought two slides in here. So I think that in Korea now is hot is drone industry. Why do you think why put drone like a subtask or something else in the plan here? I just thought that if Laos needs to have an insight some our master plan, what is necessary easily, or they can adapt, or they can develop more things in their nation. Of course, so many hardware things like construction, airports, or some making or in needs with big money, it cannot be possible sometimes, right? So, but in drone industry, it's like cheaper than other infrastructure development since you just need a drone and some station. Of course, you guys need to make some steps to be trained in other countries or your in university. But drone is the cutting edge the industry in the world. Nowadays, so many commercialized drone are available. So what are going in Korea is that we are doing the pilot test or demonstrate some in some city. For example, drone is going up and down in airspace, right? Sometimes it's very dangerous to the aircraft, passenger aircraft or freight aircraft. Of course, it might be like a crash each other. That means it might be a big accident, right? So drone needs some secure airspace to fly, to have some pilot test, right? So government or local government, other accredited institutions in Laos, they may give some access, some like approval to the private company to operate or local companies to operate these drone things. That in Korea, we are doing like a pilot test in a demonstrated city, supported by the Korea government or local government. Since those two organization has authority, right, to operate, let some private company operate in aerospace, right? So this is happen. So, and then what the contents or the level of the drone in pilot test in Korea is that, of course, drone has some limitation of flying time or weight. Okay, so in the commercialized drone has some limitation of something else. So in these days, they are trying to develop more advanced one, but the process of the drone pilot test looks like something else, like first stage, like we can operate the drone in our visible area, since we can see if drone has a problem. And then just dropping down, we can go to there and then we can check it out. But furthermore, we can do like see or make a test like in invisible area. If drone flying to the long distance, like 20 or 10 kilometers away from my place, I cannot see in my eyes, right? So this is the stage 2. And stage 3, like small cargo, like in the first stage 1, stage 2, we can only fly the drone without any freight, like something else for like a pilot test. But after stage 1 and 2, we can do it like a small cargo first and the large cargo first stage. And then, do you know what is the last stage? Me, you, people. We say drone taxi, drone taxi. Drone taxi is nowadays in Korea like some consortium supported by government trying to do like pilot test Incheon airport to the Seoul. So since demand of the drone taxi is quite high, will be expected, I think so. Another subtask I want to explain is the informatization or digitalization in the logistic things in aviation sector. The first thing is air logistic information system. So logistic is the private sector. That means private company does not need to share their valuable data to the government or local government, right? Since nowadays data is money. If I have your personal or valuable data has, I can do my business since local or other app-based some system, they can get money, they can make money from the data, something else. So in Korea, what they are trying, our government cannot let the private company give, please provide the data. It's not in a usual process. So what we are gonna do, like what we are planning, like if we set up in case of airline, aviation sector, airline or aviation logistic information systems or something else, information or all the information from private sector, including public or government information, can be shared. Why it is important? Sometimes private company need to government or public sector's information internally without any personal information. Why? So it can be both win-win to share or manage or collect information without any personal information. It's important. Without any personal information. The second thing I want to talk about is road feeder service. What is road feeder service means? Okay, I talked to you. Airport and airline is the best thing to connect some rural area to another final destination without less investment of infrastructure, right? That's right. But you know, in the airport, I talk to you in the airport. Do you see the many people or village or residence area in airport? No, this is loud and some, you know, we need more more something else. So what we need connecting transportation or for what? Passenger and freight. But I'm talking to the road feeder service means like connecting the airport to some warehouse or final customers place to the by trucking industry, by truck. So it's a technical word, road feeder service. So in aviation sector, we need to improve or make an investment in this road feeder service together, as well as aviation and airport, something else. And third one, I want to share the idea is in Korea, we have land sizes like half of the land size of Laos. So our land is developed north and south way, expressway and good expressway system, even railway system also. But you know, east to west side, there is accessibility and mobility was less developed than north and south. So, but if we have lots of money, we can invest right away. So we can make road and railway infrastructure right away. But it takes time and it takes a lot of cost, right? So if we have airports in the like east to west side, something else, we can improve our accessibility or mobility by airline with airports with less investment of infrastructure. So this is an idea, something else. So these are saying. From this slide, we will talk about the comprehensive plan of airports with some subtasks emphasized. So this comprehensive plan have some 4 strategies. First one is the environment or like airport should be sustainably coexisted for the future. Like for how? Like they can use sustainable fuel or sustainable way to make power generation in the airport, something else. So they like make a target how much carbon decrease in the at some point, some year, like 30 year, 40 year, 2050, like no carbon emission zero, something else. This is the conceptual thing. The second strategy is like I talk to you. Airport should be with the people, less than around the people, since airport will be the good place to communicate or make economic effect in regional terms. So how we can do that? We can make a investment like some fancy resort around the airport. They can have some fun and they can have some shopping and they can make some business and some business build with the business building, some like something else. It's like a more not just transporting concept. It's more like transporting plus spending and making new business and making new value-added value, something else. It's like a concept. I think in Laos, those 3 international airports, furthermore, in some days, should follow that point, I think. That's why you guys can make more added value in the nation. And third one is I heard from Mr. Shanvipan yesterday. It's like a similar trend in the Asian countries, including South Korea. We use generation. They don't want to have family. They want to live by themselves. So that means no kids, no births. That means your population is more and more decreasing. What happens? Who's gonna operate the airport? Who's gonna operate the aircraft? It's like one way to solving this problem. We introduce new technology. What? Like a robot or automation thing, something else. Nowadays, for good example, like autonomous vehicle, like, do you understand? It's happening in autonomous aircraft or autonomous like management of some warehouse, something else. So it should be a smart airport or smart aircraft or something else, like smart, like digitalization or automation or something else, and solve the strategy. And fourth one is, I should emphasize one so many times. What is the most important thing in aircraft and airport? Safety. So all about the safety things, how can we do for improving safety things in the airport and in the aviation, something else. So I will introduce Incheon International Airport's case in terms of operation management for the future, how they can do as a hub airport in the nation. So I think the first, if you like a thing, how we can increase something good for airport. It's like it's easy to increase the facility, like hardware things. But increase of hardware things should be based on the demand of the passenger or freight, right? If it is not, it's just a waste of the money, right? So, but international airport is on year and year, it's like more and more demand is increasing. That's why they enlarge on their facility. I mean, passenger terminal or a freight terminal, or they have runaways more than 3. So it's like for furthermore investment to have more capacity to hold on the passenger and freight. So that's the major thing they are going to do. And second one is like I talked to the previous slide. They are trying to make airport is the funny place. Airport is the good place to make a new business. So what they are going to do? They make a nice resort. Like just right away in Pakse International Airport, they make a Grand Campask hotel, something else like 5 or 10 malls with nice one, something else. Okay, it's like with Pakseong Mall in Vientiane or something else. This is their concept. The second thing, and third one is I talk to you. Human resource, human being is more and more decreasing since there is no kids, there is no family with new young generation. So the only solution is to automate. Automate how? It's now commercialized, just only money. Like a robot or automated some facility can load and unload in the warehouse, in the very height, like a second or third story. Even human can reach on, but robot can do it. Something else. So this is for what? It's like a luggage, loading and unloading process. It looks like a human? No, it's a robot. They are trying to do pilot test in their area to make more efficient for the future. Currently it's okay. We can use people, but for the future, after 20, after 15, it should be in other alternative, not human. So this is kind of concepting. And then one more thing I want to emphasize on is that these days as the e-commerce is trend. E-commerce, the item of the e-commerce, the customers ordered in major is food. That means fresh cargo system, quite important. So in the Korea's case, we very adjacent to China, right? So from the China's, lots of items, the cheap one, like finished product or whatever things, like just coming from the airport. But sometimes food or some other things from other countries, it can be possible. Two things I need to talk more. The first thing is smart airport things. I already talked the previous slide, but I know the Luang Prabang Airport is like supported by KOICA in Korea organization, and Pakse Airport will be in a modernized or like some help the making more lanes in runway by JICA in Japanese organization. If you guys can do like modernize your airport since to Pakse or Wati or Luang Prabang or all of the international airports, why don't you more emphasizing on like advancement of some airport facilities, like if you can do more future-oriented investment in those 3 airports, like it'll be good for your more like a growth and investment for the future, I think. So since if you just only spending money from like a renovation, some outer airport or some it might be necessary, but if you have some money available from the outside world, Korea or Japan or other China or some other countries, it might be better to invest some advanced facility to invest. And second one is airport. If airport will be activated for like production and consumption in the future, we need shuttle transporting for freight and passenger actively. This is the essential to survive with the airport and people around the city, I think. But I think in Pakse, I know you guys have good taxi system, right? But mass transporting system is also in need to transport people. I'm not talking to tuk-tuki, other good bus mass transportation system. If it can be possible, since I know in Pakse or CPS, it's not common to travel by airline at this stage. In this period, but someday, some period after getting more money per year in average people, they might need to go over by airline or some place, right? It should be good shuttle transportation to activate airports with airlines. Since I just heard from some professional in Laos. Nowadays, in case of Korean travelers and other countries travelers are trying to enter in Wati Airport to have some fun in not Vientiane, other province like Bang Bieng or some nice region. But if you guys have direct flight from Pakse to Incheon, South Korea, I can go directly so many times. It's like it's my home. So please understand what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that just only for your reference to your country's growth. Please feel free to ask me after my presentation. Okay, thank you.